All right. Hi, Philip. You're muted. You're muted. Should be on the left, on the bottom. Usually it's all the way on the left on the very bottom row. Mine is anyhow. I know it's is there next to video.
Way up at the top right, actually.
Oh, well.
How's that better?
I was sending you exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I've never seen it up there. Mine's always been bottom left.
Yeah. It had a little mute symbol there, but the control was at the top right. But yeah, I've been having computer issues. My hard drive is nearly full, so I moved stuff over to a thumb drive. I moved some stuff I didn't intend to. The thumb drive was corrupted, so I lost 3 or 4 days worth of videos.
Well, I've had computer issues too. My main computer quit, and so now I'm working on a laptop, and it took me about 4 hours, maybe 5, to get everything, open up again and get. I didn't put my videos on here because I've got like so many. I'm going to wait when we get back down to Oklahoma. I have another computer there, a new computer, and then I'll worry about getting them up. I've got all the pictures, but I don't have the videos. But I'm afraid if I put them on here, it won't deal with it. And I've got a external hard drive, so they're on that. I'm not sure. I guess I could look and see if I could somehow. I've tried to access them, but it just says no. So I don't know. I didn't want to put them on here. I haven't really tried real hard to find them. But
yeah, I need a new computer, but it's gonna have to wait a while.
I have this one down there. I've had it for like 2 or 3 years, and I kept saying, oh, wait, I don't want to do it till I get this book done. And I don't want to do it till I get this book done. And then this book, and so I said, okay, this year when we go down for Christmas, well, when we're there for Christmas, our son comes up and his wife from Houston, and I said he can help us, move it. So it almost made it. It almost made it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Trials and tribulations.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how much I depend on it. And so it quit one night, and the next morning at 7, I had a Zoom call with people from the UK. So I just used this and in the kitchen, and I had this green, we have a green, like a lime green, and a yellow kind of harvest gold blanket behind us to block the stairway so the heat doesn't go up. It looks terrible. So, but I didn't have, I was like, I just had to get on and do it, and no one cared, but it would just look terrible.
Yep.
Okay. So how are things going?
Well, pretty well. I think early or maybe late last week, I wrote you an email that I had moved away from stock to work on some of the stuff that we didn't have as good a fluency in, and that includes out and walk in and stop. And,
right.
Some of the things that she was okay at, but we really needed to work on. So that's what we've been working on, and I have a couple of videos of that I did yesterday and today that we can look at.
I think I did that all the time with Sir, because once you take something to stock, if they don't have it fluent, and you find out, sometimes you think it is, and then you get there and you find out, it's not as good as I thought. I did a lot of going back away from it and of stock, because you just can't make any progress there. And then, so no, I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I had the goats in the small pen, and we were practicing walk-in, which she was pretty good at. But, you know, she'd walk in, but she wouldn't stop.
Mm.
She'd just keep going until she
Going.
got right up to the fence. And I found myself having to, you know, correct her and pull on her
Sure.
way
Yep.
more than I wanted to. So,
Yep.
we
That's
backed off. But,
yeah, sign that you got to do something different, because
yeah,
otherwise you know, you really don't have any choice. You're either going to have to go to corrections or you're going to have to go back and retrain. Yeah.
I set it up, and this is one of the videos I lost, but I set it up with the cone circle.
Mhm.
I think that really helped with giving her a boundary,
Mhm.
you know, to stop and lie down, and I think that helped quite a bit. So I've stayed with that. Eventually, I guess I should probably fade it, but it's working so far.
Yeah, or you can take the cones in with the sheep. I always want to say sheep, in with the goats. So
Yeah.
if you have a video you want to watch, why don't you pull
Sure.
one up and we'll start looking at it.
Okay.
And I mean, we can always talk while you're doing that, whatever is
Okay.
on your mind.
Share the screen, share sound. Okay.
Okay.
So this is early this morning, and we don't have to watch the whole thing, but
Okay.
we had quite a few false starts at the beginning, and I wanted to see if you could look at it and see what maybe I was doing wrong.
Okay.
We had been getting pretty good at this, and then we just
Right.
hit a bunch of roadblocks.
Sure. Well, that happens.
She one thing I found is that my position in relation to the inner circle is real critical to her understanding what I wanted to do. So if I'm just outside the small circle, she'll go ahead and go out without a cue.
Uh,
Whereas if I'm in the middle of the small circle, she'll flank, but she won't go out. So I've been kind of adjusting my position a little bit. That does seem to make a difference, but we're still kind of doing stutter steps on this one.
it takes a while. Yeah. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, she did it, but it was without a cue, so that's why I stopped.
Yeah. I was going to tell you too, you know, on the last week you said,
yes, get it.
Great, that's nice. That you said, well, Sir stays out nice, and he usually does. But when I had him up there today, I say that more than any other cue to him.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending thing that he wants to be closer.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's just, you know, I just tell him, and then he'll do it. But you know, you'd think at some point he would just start doing it, but he doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, she, I guess that's just his nature.
Yes.
Wondering.
Yeah, he wants to be close, and I think she's a forward-moving dog too. And so, you know, just, I mean, it. Have you ever heard where they have these auctions there? They sell the stock dogs and they work them and then they sell them.
I haven't seen those, no.
And you know, you can take a dog and you can make it look really good because you know what their faults are, and you can, you know, handle them so you don't see that. And no, that's good. And so, you know, it's, every dog has its faults, and you're always, you know, like I said, it's on a continuum, and they want to be at one end or the other, and we're always kind of pushing them towards the center where we want them to be. But it's a never-ending thing. Especially the more they tend to want to be on one end, the more, you know, the more you have to, like, Sir's very forward moving.
I was trying to get her just to flank with me moving in towards the center of the circle and see if she was, I think she's spontaneously just going out because she does it so often without the cue. And I just wanted to see if she would flank inside the circle.
I see. Yeah, it gets to be, like I said, everything's a balancing act. You know, when you get them to go out, especially on this, then they don't want to stay on the inside circle. And so you're always, okay, now we'll work on just staying on the inside circle till I tell you to go to the outside circle. And I didn't work Sir on much on in, because that's such his natural, you know. And if I'm out there and I want him to come in, I'll just, you know, say, you know, in or here, and he'll come right in, because that's really what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, she,
Good.
you know, one thing I've noticed about her is that, I don't know if you heard it right there, but I used my no reward marker. And she's very sensitive to that.
Yes.
I think later in this video, I used it a couple of times, and she decides she's going to quit.
Oh, you used a no reward marker?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Come on. Get it. Yes, good dog.
Or she went stayed on the inside.
Yeah,
That's a good dog.
she gets the idea after a while.
Well, and that's how it is. I mean, if I took Sir out and did that now, I would have to go through and work it through him again. He would tend to, you know, I don't know what he'd tend to do, if he'd tend to stay in or tend to go out, but he'd have a tendency, and I'd have to work on either asking him. He's so good now at out, he knows what I want. It'd probably be trying to get him to stay in, because he'd see those other cones and things. But that's because there isn't stock around. If there's stock around, he wouldn't tend to go out, even if there were 2 sets of cones around the stock.
Right.
So it depends.
What's going on here?
Yep.
But I think you're gonna be happy that you, yeah. So there, she decided she had had enough of that. And you might want to, like, when she does do it, waits for the cue and does it, you know, just a little bit longer with her,
That's a good girl.
you know, and then, or the other thing is let her go around the outside a little farther, because that's usually inherently reinforcing, just to go around. So you can use, you know, or you can ask her for a down or something, another cue that's reinforcing. So there's you know, you can do a lot, and you could say yay, yay, whatever, you know, get excited. I mean, I do a lot of different things to, especially for a dog that's sensitive. Sir is not sensitive. He does not care. I try not to use a no reward marker more than twice. And if I do it twice, it's like, okay, I got to do something different. But I don't think it's not because he will turn off. It's because I'm saying he doesn't know, you know, he doesn't train well enough where I mean, it doesn't bother him. He knows what it is. Like if I would say, come by, and he'd flank the wrong direction, I say, oops, he'll just stop. But I've never had him like leave work or say, well, you know, he's just not that sensitive. He just really wants to work.
Yeah, she just kind of decides, well, this isn't all that much fun anymore. I'm going to go find something else to do.
Yep. Maybe I'll pick up a stick or something, find something good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
and you know, I think that's going to help in the long run, because I think she's more, it's harder to keep her hooked up to the game, but I also think she's more sensitive to you not liking what she's doing. Sir really doesn't care if I don't like what he's doing. You know, he just, he's not a real people pleaser type of dog. You know, he's just like, he's very good. He's very capable, and he's a wonderful, you know, he does well, but he's not like Quest is much more, you know, if you would yell at him, he would be, oh my gosh, you know. But his dad was really sensitive, but Sir, and see, that's the problem I always saw, is if a dog was really into herding and wasn't sensitive, then the more abuse the dog would take, the more punishment they would give it. You know, they would use more. And if the last dog I took to the guy I worked with was Quest's father, he was very, very sensitive, this dog. And he was also from this guy's breeding, because if it wasn't his breeding, then he'd just say the dog wasn't any good, but it was his breeding, so he couldn't really say that. But he couldn't really punish him because he wouldn't take it. You know, the dog would just quit. And so he, you know, that's the last dog I took to him, because I knew he couldn't punish him. You know, it just
Right.
it wasn't an option.
Yeah. Yeah, if I even raise my voice at Judy a little bit, she's very reactive to that. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
try not to do it anymore.
yeah. Well, I can raise my voice to Quest now because he's pretty much deaf. But
Yeah.
now I'm yelling at him all the time, and he still doesn't hear me. But no, I never would do that before when he could hear, because he's sensitive, but his father was twice as sensitive.
So this next one is later in the morning, and I moved over to the pen where we were, just to kind of reduce the distractions, and I can also close it up so she can't move away.
Okay.
And I started working on just one flank at a time, because when I mix it up.
Yeah, I usually, until they've really got it, I only work on one, because to us, it just seems like makes sense that it's just the same thing, but to them, it's a whole different behavior. So I always try and get them not fluent, but at least really pretty, comfortable with it before I introduce the other one.
Yeah, the only problem with this area is the limited on space.
Right. But I think this is going to be a really good place for you to work your goats, because it's small enough, and she's going to have to stay out. And so you're going to know. And before I said, well, you'll put the cones in a circle around it. Actually, we're probably going to put them in an oval with it'll be farther away on the ends where she can get out to teach her to open up, that she can, and get her more comfortable with that.
Oh yeah.
It's been cold there. Is that frost on the ground?
Yeah.
Yes.
Down to
You're all-
32 this morning.
Yeah, you're all dressed up, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there, you played with her a lot, so that should have made her happy.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her more enthused with the game.
Lie down. Yes. Good girl.
No, that was nice.
Yeah, and I'm also working on her not popping up
Oh wait.
from a down
Oh,
position.
yes. Get it.
So when you say go farther around the outside circle, should I wait to throw the rat until she takes a few more steps, or should I throw it farther in front?
In the beginning, I do it as soon as they respond, because they don't, if they're not sure what they're supposed to do. Once I have a feeling, oh, she's doing it consistently, then I'll let her go farther, because she enjoys running around.
Right.
If you think she enjoys that, if not, then I wouldn't. But I think most dogs that are fast, just flanking is inherently reinforcing. That's why I use a no reward marker if they go the wrong way, because if you don't say anything, a lot of them will just keep running around because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't always go, okay, now we're going to go halfway. Just sometimes quarter way, sometimes 3/4, maybe back to a quarter, halfway. I like to have it so the dog doesn't, we don't get into the pattern. Patterns are good in some things with herding. Like if you set the dog up on your left side when you're going to send them an outrun, they know they're going to stay on the left side, and that's a good pattern. But a lot of things like this, you don't want to set up patterns that, oh, okay, I only go a quarter of a circle, because then if you do that, then if you don't throw the tug and say something, she's going to stop, because she's going to say, oh, where's the tug? That's what you've learned is you're going to do.
Right. Yeah, she, I think she does like walking around. It's been difficult to get her to go more than halfway. She tends to bog down at the half. If she's going to bog down, she bogs down about halfway.
Yes. Out.
Okay, so then what I do is
Good.
just before she gets halfway, then I'd say yes and put it out in front of her.
Yeah. That's a good dog.
And I wouldn't do that consistently. Then I'd go down back to a quarter. But then after I did that a few times, where I ended up quarter and almost half and quarter and almost half, and then then I might try if you go a little farther than half, you know, and just see. I do it sometimes just to see where I am, you know, with the dog. What
Girl, get it.
does she think about it? Is she ready? And then if she goes, it's a big, you know, tug and it's a great success. And then I don't ask for that again for, you know, quite a while. But sure, he'll go round and round. He looks pretty into it right now.
Yeah, she's,
Yes.
I removed all the sticks and rocks, so,
There you go. All the distractions.
yeah,
Lie down.
And the goats, the rocks, sticks, and goats are all gone.
yep.
Good dog. Good girl.
Yeah, see that one, it jumped and she was standing behind the cone, then she was at the middle cone. Just for like in a split second.
She's a good dog.
I know she got there somehow, but I don't know if she jumped or walked in or what.
Oh, I see her.
room.
Is the video choppy?
Yeah, they're choppy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well,
Yeah, she's doing really well with walk-in now. I haven't tried, you know, around the goats again for a while, but, you know, I think she's getting it down pretty well.
no, I think you did the right thing because there wasn't any point if it wasn't
Yeah.
gonna work around the goats to do it.
Walk in.
Yeah, we were struggling with it.
Oh, yeah, that looks great.
Get it. Yeah.
I see you're saying that you think that those cones kind of help her stop.
They seem to.
Yeah.
That's a
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, then, yeah, then I would do the same thing. I'd set it when you do the goats, the goats would be in the center. I'd have that other cone circle where it is, and then I'd have her out like that because that's where you want her anyhow. And
Okay.
then, you know, and just anything that works, you're going to transfer it. You'd still be walking the perimeter with her, but then that would give her a good distance to walk in and then to stop, and then you can try, like, let's say at the long parts where you're farther from the cones, you can try stopping her before she gets to the cones.
Mhm.
And see, does she do that?
Yes. Good dog.
Yeah, she seemed to take a few times. She seemed to take a few extra steps until she got to the cone. After I gave her the down command,
Yeah.
down cue. So I'll try that with stopping before the cones, or maybe moving the cones a little farther away and doing that.
Yeah, just like I said, I try something, and if it doesn't work, I try something else. Whatever, you know, what works for Sir doesn't work for Quest, and you know, some of it'll work for her. That was nice, but other things, you know, like I said, Sir, he'll go round and around. He gets a big kick out of that. Where you're saying that she don't like to go that much. Well, they're just all different.
Yeah, I think she probably will eventually, but
Yeah.
So I guess one of the questions I'll probably keep asking you is you know, when do you think, how will I know when it's time to move back into the stock? Do I just try it, or do I wait a week and make sure it's really solid? Or, I mean, what
I
are the
think you just-
guidelines?
I think because you have that nice little pen that's easy to put in, and you don't have trouble getting your goats in, try it. If it doesn't work, then you're gonna have to do more work.
Okay.
you know. That way, you know, you kind of get a feel for when you think, you know, she's getting it and that she's getting really, you know, you think pretty solid, that when you gain confidence that you want to do it, I do it. I mean, that's kind of what I don't think people realize about how I train this is most people that have never trained a dog have absolutely no confidence because they don't know what the dog's supposed to do. They don't know what they're supposed to do, and they don't know what the stock is supposed to do. So there's no way they can have confidence. And by having the stock in a pen and having the dog on a long line at, you know, when we need them, it gives the person confidence, not that they know exactly what to do, but they know they're not going to have a big train wreck, that they have control of the situation. And I think when you have confidence, then your dog gets more confidence because, you know, you're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. But see, when people have like, let's say the goat's loose, the dog loose, and they're trying to block them and run around, they're not sure where they should be. And then the dog will chase and run them into the fence. And, then the people are just so worked up, and the dog isn't thinking because they're so worked up, and the stock are just scared out of their minds because they know that the dog's out of control. And so by limiting everything, I think it gives you confidence. So when you feel confident you'd like to try it. If it works, great, then move on. If it doesn't, okay, then we got to go back. And that's what I'm glad you got, that other little pen, because then you can set it up in 10 minutes, try it. Didn't work, okay, take it down. It worked, great, go forward. So yeah, I don't think there's any cut and dried rules. I mean, they always tell you in clicker training, when the dog gets 80%, move forward. But I like to think of the dog being closer to 90, 95, because when you're around stock, they get so much reinforcement out of doing things that you don't want, so to me, it's got to be, the behaviors have to be more solid, because I don't want them to rehearse unwanted behavior. I want them to get their reinforcement from doing things that I want them to do, and to find that, comfortable and reinforcing, and then they're confident. And that's going to help her too, because of the electric fence or netting, debacle. So I just, like I said, I want you confident, and when you feel you're ready to move on, you don't have to ask me. You just say, okay, I think I want to try it. Okay. It worked or it didn't.
Yeah.
Or, you might say, well, it didn't work, but I think I could try doing this, with the goats still there. And, maybe instead of asking her in, maybe ask her in from a far corner. So there's more distance. Well, I'll try that. Did that work? Or, you just have to kind of play with it. That's why I had all the laws of learning in the books, because there's so much of this that is not ambiguous, but it's not clear cut. It's not like, okay, when the dog can do this, this, and this, you move to the next step. And then when they can do this, this, and this, and you kind of do that, but the steps aren't all in the same sequence for every dog, because if she was a sideways moving dog, we'd be working on her on the outside of the cone circle, moving to the center cone circle, because all she'd want to do is stay glued to the outside of your pen.
Right.
And so, I mean, we're just trying to adapt it to her and to you. But yeah, as long as you keep the goats safe, and they, then you really don't have a whole lot to lose. I mean, if she has, if she does, something and you don't like it, and so, well, she does something you don't like, when there are no goats, so.
Okay. So right now we're working on out and walk in and stop.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of forgetting, I'm still in reading your second book, 201. Is it 102 or 201?
201.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Same difference.
Didn't Amazon have it listed as 102 at one time or something like that?
No, but I told people it's 102, so a lot of people put that in, waiting for it, so it comes up as that, when you type it in, it'll come in as a search.
Okay. Yeah, I found it eventually, but
yeah.
So when do we start working on flanks around the stock? Is that much later down the road, or?
Well, that's what I showed you with Sir. Okay, remember those 3 or 4 videos when she can walk on a loose leash, and then stay out on the cones. And so then you've got her on a long line, a short long line, not as long as that one you have that gets tangled. Then you start moving towards the stock and facing her, and she's out on the cones, and then you just ask her to flank. And if she turns and goes that direction, yes, and for that, I'd say yes, and then maybe just stop her.
Okay.
And then, and then I start walking with them so they go farther. And let's say, so you're standing there and she's out on the cone circle, you're facing her, you're only like 4 or 5 feet from her, and you say, come by. She goes, come by, and she stays out. And so you say yes, and then you say down or stop. What are you using? Down? Lie down.
Lie down.
Lie down. Okay.
Yeah.
And you say lie down, then I would give her a treat and have a big celebration. And then I would start from there. And then I would, being she knows her flanks, then I might say away to me and then take her back the other way. Same thing. If she goes 4 or 5 feet, stays out, then it's a yes or a down and a celebration, however you want to do it. And if, let's say you say away to me and she comes right in, then it's going to be a no reward marker, because, and that's the problem. If they don't know their flanks, then they can think, oh, they went the wrong direction, but she knows her flanks. So, and if you're going to have enough cones that she's going to see the cones, she'll know. And so then I just take them back out and start again. And then I just start extending it. So I start walking with them, and, I might have them on a 6-foot leash to start and then just walk around with them. Or sometimes I have to run, like what I did with Sir, because he doesn't, he doesn't just walk or trot. And eventually they're on a long line and I move closer to the goats. So I'm standing right up against the fence of the enclosure, facing out. And then I say the same thing, come by. She's on a long line. And by that time, you've gone pretty much all the way around with her, both directions, where you've kind of gone with her. And now you're letting her go herself and stop her. You could ask her to walk in if she did well, then go over and give her a treat, and then walk out and call her back out to you, set her up again. And when you feel confident that she's going to do it, then I let her drag the long line, and then she can start going all the way. So it's just like, look back at those videos and, and you can try it at any time. Like I said, put the goats back in. Can she walk on a loose leash all the way and stay on the perimeter? I don't know if she can or not. She was getting close, but I mean, till you feel confident, and then you're going to put on your cones and start, walking her closer. And like I said, I wouldn't set up a circle. I'd set up an oval. So it's closer where your paddock's narrower, because she's got to have room to get through. But then where you have more room on the ends, it's farther from the goats, because she really should be farther from them. And so that will help her to open up or move farther away from them.
Okay.
So yeah, look back at those videos and see what you think. And like I said, there's no magic time. It's just when you feel confident and comfortable and you try it and you say, oh, that worked great, or no, I have to go back. It's not good enough. She's cutting in all the time. It's not, she's not ready.
Yeah, that's kind of where we were last week. She just kept coming in on the stop.
Yep. Well, and that's it. I mean, and there's no cut and dried. It takes as long as it takes. And so that's how it is with all the training. And with this, her propensity is to come in. And so it's going to be something you're going to battle until she finally decides, okay, I'm good with this. I'm comfortable. This is reinforcing enough, because for her, coming in is very, reinforcing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, it's like some people, walk fast and some walk slow naturally. And she just likes to come in naturally. And it's so if you say, okay, I want you to walk slower and slow down. I've been working with her on slow down just today. I had the sheep in the pen, and I just, in the small area, and they were in the little pen, I had him just going around them real slow and easy. And just by saying, come by, wait to me, I was using out, of course, because he will start to come in at times. And then I let him out. And so if he stays nice and slow, he can go right around them. They'll just stay pretty much in the center. And so we worked on that. And so that's what I work on is his out and slow down. And so, because when he's slowing down, he can think, and when he's out, he can think, but he tends to be very fast and he tends to be tight or close. And so those are things I work on all the time. You know, it's just.
So, it's kind of a philosophical question. So we're working without the stop.
Yes.
Things are we doing to change that behavior where they want to come in all the time? I mean, what do I look for? Not what do I look for, but what do I do to make her progress along the lines that we want?
Well, I mean, for her to want to stay out more.
Yeah, and just be more under control and not be wanting to dash into the stock all the time.
I think that's just something you're gonna have to work on all the time. Like with Sir, I mean, he's 8. I'm still working on it. You know, he can go out and he can do it and he can take his cues. But the more you can be consistent in your criteria, so you're reinforcing only what you want. And when she's not, like if you ask her to do something and she's unsuccessful, then you cut back so that it's easy for her to be correct and reinforce that again. But see that everything, I think I wouldn't have to do so much with him if I'd been more consistent, but I got to the point, I said, well, that's good enough. That's good enough. Well, that comes back to bite you big time because it isn't good enough. And then, but you want to move forward.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's just when they make mistakes and, once in a while they make mistakes. So what? But if you see it's consistent, it's done 2, 3 times. Okay, now we've got to make it easier for her to be correct. We're going to have to, okay, we were walking, and I had her on a long line, but she was doing all right with the, on the leash, walking around, staying on the outside. I was 6 feet from her. Now I'm 8 feet. Well, she comes in. Okay, we're going to have to go back to 6 feet and do more of that. I mean, you just have to keep backing up until you say, okay, now I feel like, I think she's got it now. I'm confident. Okay, you try it. Did it work? Well, I don't know. She'll tell you.
Yeah. So it's better to back off and, like you said, give them a chance to succeed than it is to be constantly correcting them. Or
you're either going to be a reinforcement trainer or a punishment trainer.
Right.
You only have 2 choices, so that's the only thing I know. If they're struggling, then you're going to have to make it easier so that you can reinforce more, build that behavior.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wish it was easier, I wish I had a magic bullet or a magic wand or anything, but it's just building behavior that way. And till the dog, it has enough reinforcement that they can perform that way. So.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. Well, I think we're 1 minute from being done. So, I'm sure I had some other questions for you, but.
Well, if you do, just put them in the email.
Okay.
So, but